Hello, I'm Euge Valovirta, and on this video I'm gonna show you most of my guitars. So yeah, I've been asked that could I show my guitar collection. Well, it's not much of a collection, it's actually guitars that I actually use in different situations and in different tunings. But yeah, without further ado, let's go through these and where and why I have got these guitars and where I use them. The first one here on this stand is a Tomppa Tom. I'm not gonna talk much about this because I've done a separate video of this guitar, but it's a Esp custom shop. Thick alder body, maple neck, and it's a Les Paul scale that I actually forgot to mention on the video of this guitar. So it isn't your usual Esp V25 and half inch, but this is a Les Paul's like 23 and 3/4 scale. So it's basically like a Les Paul but with a flying V body, and I think Gibson's flying V's have the same scale length too. Whoop. But anyway, I used that guitar on almost all of the Dimebag Beyond Forever shows and on God's Blake's H8 aka H album, which was the most metal albums what we did. On that album I used Frankenstein amp and cabinet boosted with the Boss Super Overdrive, the Dimebag signature amps, and there was a bit of a whammy stuff going on. So this was the guitar that I used on that album that were in a drop C and had some kind of whammy things going on. So this is in drop C. So yeah, if you're interested, God's Blake and the album, please check from the description below. I'll put links in there. I've also done videos, how to play videos of some God's Blake songs. But yeah, let's not focus on that because it has its own video. And then what we have here next is Tokai Super Strat. And this is kind of, I mean, well, this was inspired by Nuno's N4. I'm a big fan of Nuno Betancourt and especially the Pornography album and the 3 Sides to Every Story albums. Kind of stolen a few licks from him here and there, especially the pentatonic licks that you use some like odd like. A bit sloppy, but that was one of his solos, and I actually kind of had the same idea on my solo albums. Don't take it too hard because oh yeah, but anyway, this isn't about playing, it's about guitars. So yeah, this is yeah, well, there's a story. This was if I remember correct, this body I think is Tokai, or it might be something else. The neck is actually, I'm going to reveal that it's not a Tokai neck, it's a Warmoth neck. The Tokai was just put it there because it was Musamama got the parts, and you know, I play with Tokais and stuff, so I wanted, you know, I wanted to have the Tokai logo because I just love Tokai guitars. So, but yeah, it has a Floyd rose that only goes down. It actually can rest on the body, but there's quite a little of wood here, so I have this kind of like a stopper, what do you call it, so that you can't pull this up. It just goes down, and that's why I'm able to use the drop D, because with the floating bridge, if I would put this to drop, everything else would be out of tune. Yeah, so this has it was an experiment because this has EMG 81 and 85X pickups. I don't really know the details or technical stuff, but to me they sound a little bit less aggressive. It's like, to me they sound like 81, 85, but a little bit, I don't know if soft is the correct word, but just not that aggressive. Alder body, I think. I'm not sure. Well, maple neck, one piece maple neck. Oh no, it isn't. Huh? It's maple neck, and then there's a. I can see that there's a different. The fretboard is from another piece, but it's maple also. It's like bird's eye maple, what they call it. The truss rod is here. 22 jumbo frets, you know, Floyd Rose locking things, and though you really don't need locking these kind of tuners with Floyd Rose, this has it. No, why not? So they're Garage locking tuners. And this is kind of my... Sometimes I've used this live on some cover shows, but mostly when I play at home or record like some 80s style, Van Halen or that kind of stuff, this is the guitar to go. Cool. And then what we have here is a ESP Kamikaze 1, George Lynch signature. I haven't done anything else on it except I changed the original pickups. I think it has the Lynch Screaming Demon and some, I think it was like a mini humbucker thing, but I wanted to have a single coil and well, EMG humbucker. It's the X series, same than this one. So they're kind of like on the same pickups, because you know, if I was doing we did a lot of cover shows and the themed cover shows with the cover band and party band Rock and Roll Sensation that I used to play with. Like, okay, on this show we play Van Halen on this and that. So then for Van Halen shows I have this and that, and I wanted to. Originally this had well, obviously the original pickups, but it was so different. You know, I had wireless and stuff, and everything was like, when you set it to EMG pickups, then everything else changed. So I just put it the same bridge pickup here than what's on that one. Maybe it was the other way around. I remember. Well, anyways, it's EMG now. And then there's the battery compartment. Did this at Musamaailma, very handy. So they actually carved a hole in there. And this has a floating Floyd Rose, just some foam in there so that the springs don't, you know. This has a really wide neck. I don't know if you can see, but the Floyd Rose, it goes like out from the locking tuners. It's quite flat neck and really wide, because I think George has big hands. So whenever I play this first time, it feels like, whoa, because it's a longer scale, wide neck, thin, because usually play with Les Pauls, but after a while, we usually get used to this really quickly. Some Mr. Big in there, and the single coil is like you pull the volume, then it goes to single. Oh yeah, really cool guitar, and this has a 9 set, 9 to 46 I think, and the strings are really low. Usually I have a bit thicker strings, and this is in standard E, the only guitar that has 9 sets. For some reason this just works with 9 sets, the best. I had a 10 set this a long time, but it was always something. But now when I put the 9 to 42 or 46, I don't remember correctly, it works really well. Then it's my the original Euge God's Plague model, which I talked on the video I released a few days ago. So I'm not gonna go into details of this more. If you're interested, please check the other video about this and the ESP signature. Maybe I'll put a link somewhere there, the information thing. You can maybe click if you want. Then we have another one of my signatures. This has a story also. It's basically, well, it's a Japan ESP custom shop. So it's the same as my signature one. And this is a bit lighter. They all should, you know, be exactly the same. And the neck is a little bit thinner. But you know, these are handmade, so there's little subtle differences in the everything and the sound also. This was originally the Shining guitar that you may have seen on Shining videos and live shows. So it still has a Shining logo there because it was painted. But when I left Shining 2017 I think, and joined Syra, I thought that it's, you know, would feel a bit weird to play on the guitar which has a Shining logo. But actually I haven't played with this one on Syra live shows, but I've used this on the albums, the No Halos in Hell. Most of the guitar solos I recorded in home studio, and I used this guitar because this sounds really good. It's open and it's awesome clean sound. I mean, on the Shining 9 for clean sounds, I think I used some Andy LaRocque, the producer's Precision or Strat, but for the 10th album I did all the cleans, everything I did with this guitar. It just sounded so cool on cleans too, really open and stuff. And the only other guitar I used was the acoustic guitar that Andy has in his studio. So the Shining number 10 album, it's this guitar. 81, 85 in Shining, this used to have the black pickups, but 81, 85 now it has whites. And but yeah, mahogany body, maple top, mahogany neck, ebony fingerboard, fretboard, Dunlop jumbo frets, and graphite nut and a Goldtooth locking tuners and a shaved maple neck. This is now in standard C, which is Cyrus main tuning. Anyway, great guitar. Then what we have here is another Tokai, which is basically the same as the one that had the God's Plague, my logo. This is, I can see the serial number, early 2000, and now this has a 57 and 66 pickups, because I switched the 81, 85. This has to this guitar here, but the predecessor of this guitar is now actually, to my knowledge, on one Rock Bar's wall, framed in Tampere. The bar is called Jack the Rooster, at least it used to be there. So, because it's completely smashed. So, we were playing this cover band, Rock and Roll Sensation. We were opening for Leningrad Cowboys, which I later also played. You know, so big audience, like 6,000, really big, some mall in Finland. Don't remember where. And back then I still had a few drinks occasionally. And actually I drank a whole bottle of champagne during the show, and at the end of the show I was like really feeling it, and you know, and at 6,000 people, and then I just threw my guitar in the air. I had a wireless, and like woo, and then I forgot that I had stopped throwing it in the air, and it landed directly like this to our players' keyboards, and the neck got broken and everything. And then I was like, heard some cursing, like, what the fuck? Like, oh yeah, I threw a guitar, I forgot to catch it. And then, well, I had the broke, like here, I had this and that, and then I just basically destroyed everything. And I remember walking from the stage, the Leningrad Cowboys, they were coming there, and they were like, oh dude, it's like you had a good show, because I was carrying the pieces of the guitar with me. Yeah, it was a little bit crazy. So, and then I donated that, or gave that to the Jack the Rooster bar, which they were opening. So they wanted to have all kinds of Finnish rock memorabilia there. So then I called Musamaailma that, you know, this thing happened, and I would need a guitar like right away, the similar one. Do you happen to have one in there? Yeah, we do. So then this is exactly the same guitar. I sanded a bit of the corners here, but mahogany body, maple top, ebony fingerboard, rosewood, shaved rosewood neck, and quite a lot of scratches here. The jumbo frets, garage tuners, standard, and a graphite nut like most of my guitars. So Yeah, still plays like a charm. This one is I think this is my latest. So my first Evertune guitar, because when we were recording Cyrus No Hellos in Hell album, I mean we have quite a lot of keyboards and stuff there, and quite low tuning. So especially on those big like power chords, they were kind of like wow, 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 and I mean, if there would be no keyboards or anything, that I think that's kind of cool. That wow, I like that, but we wanted to have like without that, so completely, at least those parts should be in tune. So Jacob Henson, the producer, he had a ESP Horizon with the Evertune and EMG pickups in there, and said, hey, try this. And I tried it and it worked. So I, on basically all the choruses, or the long chords, I played with that, and everything else I played with my signature guitars, because that bridge on that guitar was adjusted so that you couldn't bend or vibrate, so you couldn't get it out of tune no matter what. I've set up this that you can bend this, but it still stays in tune, but you can get it out of tune if you don't know what you're doing. So and that inspired me that, hey, this is really cool, because I mean I tuned the guitar, that guitar twice when I recorded the rhythm guitar for the album. I did 15 songs, or 14, 15, what do we have, in 2 days. So first time I tuned the guitar on the first day of the recordings when we changed strings, and the second day I think we continued, but then we have two tunings. I guess I changed then the guitars and used play the songs with other tunings. So 2 times. It was really fast, because usually it's always the G string and whatnot. So it's really fast to record the tracks. So you know, because you didn't have to tune or tweak or whatever. Once you tune this, it stays in tune. The feel, it's a little bit softer, obviously, because there's these springs and whatnot going than on the traditional like a Les Paul tune or Manic Bridge, but I think I got used to it really fast. So ESP was when I told ESP that, man, you know, it would be cool to have this, and they actually said, yeah, sure. What kind of would you like? And I said, well, I'm kind of Les Paul guy, so this Eclipse. So they sent this to me, and after the recordings, just like maybe 6 months ago now. But yeah, I've been really happy. It's like the standard Eclipse, not like on my custom. So this is thinner. The neck is it's a little bit thinner, but not really that much. I feel really comfortable. Garage locking tuners, ebony fingerboard. I think it's a mahogany body and mahogany neck without a maple top, because this is a bit darker and not as aggressive sounding. The pickups are now Seymour Duncan Sentient and Pegasus pickups, passive. First I was like, yeah, I really like this, but now I'm actually gonna change EMGs to this one too, because this doesn't have a maple top, it's all mahogany, so it's a little bit dark sounding, I don't know, and I just love EMGs, 81, 85, get that aggressive, so I'm gonna change actually white EMGs to this in the near future, but now I'm not in a rush, since you know, this works just fine for you know. A little bit of Syra. All right, cool. And I've done a video of this guitar. So if you wanna check that out, check the ESP guitars playlist. And then was my first signature model. That was based on the Tokai. So again, I've done a separate video of this one. So, but it's a full thickness, really heavy compared to that one. Mahogany body, maple top, maple neck, got a locking tuners, jumbo frets, Dunlop, graphite nut, ebony fingerboard, EMG 81, 85. All right, that was that shelf, and let's move to the other side. So now there will be this edit thing, and suddenly the camera is here and I'm sitting there where the camera is, and we go through the rest of the guitars. So yeah, welcome back to this side. I'm not sure if I forgot to mention the other two of my signature guitars that I use mainly in Syra, but now I do. So they're not here. That's why I didn't show them, because they are in Gothenburg, Sweden, at our headquarters, and because they're where we always gather before the tours and stuff, and especially these times since everything's cancelled, they are there. But they are like the two other signatures I showed. They are the same. The other one is white and the other is black with black hardware, and they have AMG 57 and 66 pickups instead of 81, 85. If you're interested why, please check the video of my signature guitar that I guess I mentioned. But anyway, Telecaster. Why this color? I'm a huge Bruce Springsteen fan. My first memories, I think I was 5 or 6, is when my uncle was playing me Springsteen. It was the Innocent and the E Street Shuffle, the Bruce with the beard there, and he was studying then, and it made a huge impact, and I've been a huge fan ever since. You know, it's Bruce Springsteen, and then there's all these other great bands and guitar players. I know this isn't exactly like Bruce's, but it'll do for me. I've had this, I don't know how long, remember, probably 15-20 years, like most of my guitars, but you know, they work. I'm so used to them. This has a Seymour Duncan Antique Series pickups. I don't know what actual model name, but yeah, although I just praise for EMGs, but for certain types of things, I think good old school passive pickups is the way to go. The body, the body is, well, it's no idea about the wood, outer maybe. The neck is a, back in those days, Tokai didn't make, or at least Musamama, they didn't have a Tokai with 22 frets. I've I tried to play with 21, but I got confused. It's like, where's the one? So this is again a Warmoth neck. It's kind of like V shape. So it's like V shape here, and then it gets rounder here and a little bit thinner. So it's really good for, I think, because I'm mainly, you know, oh, the noise gate was up. Okay, now the noise gate. Ah, damn. Where was I? My ISP noise gate is apparently starting to reach its retirement time, because it just, you heard the sound and then went dead. But now when I, you know, shake it, it works again. Yeah, so yeah, it's a Strat. So the Warmoth neck, because of the 22 frets, this is a one-piece bird's eye maple neck with Dunlop jumbo frets. Really nice guitar. I've used this on my solo album on the chicken picking songs, and I actually used this a bunch on Suburban Tribes. Now on Ever After, the last album we did, I used this a lot. So great guitar. It's like a, you know, workhorse. You can shovel stuff with this, because it's, you know, it's a Tele. It's basically a piece of wood that is stuck with the neck. Then the next one, I went for many years without a Strat, because I never could find a one that I was satisfied. There was always something that I just didn't like. If I needed to use one, I just borrowed from a friend. But then one day I was at Musamama, and I was like, man, I really would like to have a Strat, but I haven't found that really feels like, okay, this is the one. And then the Kai Saarikko, the owner, was just like, okay, we have some cool stuff here. And I guess this was the third or fourth Strat he gave to me, and immediately I was like, yeah, this is it. I mean, this has everything. This is a Tokai custom shop. They designed this together with Musamaailma, and I guess it's a limited run, maybe not. I think it's still available on their site. So it's a one tone, one volume, because what always especially bugged me with Strats, because the volume is so close. I'm like, how the hell I should put my hand, because whenever I play, my ring finger, because I used like to keep it here, so there wasn't any room. So but now this is a little bit lower. I would actually like to have a little bit more lower, because sometimes when I'm playing fast, I have my hands like this. But this is Strat, so it's kind of like, you know, mellow. Well, yeah. So and then it has a push-pull knot. So this is a, I don't remember the pickups, I guess some vintage antique style things, but this, when you pull this, it's single coil, and I think it's this coil, so it isn't so bad. And so on, and 22 frets, really important. I can't play with 21 frets. I don't remember the specs. maple neck, this satin feel, like really like this rosewood fingerboard. These are, I think, medium jumbo frets and a Gada locking tuners. But yeah, now I have a Strat that I feel comfortable and I like, and I haven't used this on any albums yet, because this is quite new. On Cyrus No Hellos in Hell there is a Strat on a few songs, but I used the producer Jacob Hansen's Strat, or maybe it was the assistant engineer or producer Jonas Hagen's, I don't remember, but yeah, great Strat, and I love the fact that it's a humbucker and then you can have it as a single coil, so you can basically play like even kind of like rock and metal. I think that was Yngwie Malmsteen's teaser. Where the hell did that came from? Then another Tokai LS Paul. This is quite interesting since it's like a Les Paul custom, and customs usually have an ebony fingerboard, but this has a rosewood. I don't know, maybe Tokai has a model with rosewood neck, but other than that, it's a mahogany body, maple top, shaved maple neck. This is from, if I read this correctly, from 2000, so 20 years. Yeah, Republic of Dixie, play loud, play proud. And there was, I think, a Black Label side sticker. I used this on, because we had this Crazy Train Aussie tribute band in Finland. We played a bunch of shows, and I mostly used this one because, you know, it's like wild. You know, Rebel Flag. I'm a big Lynch fan, so this doesn't represent any Southern racist ideas. To me, this represents a good music. Just to clear that out. So I'm not into, we're all equal. I'm colorblind in that sense. And but yeah, EMG 8185. This has a really kind of like a bit darker sound. I guess it's due to the rosewood fingerboard, darker sound than my other. This is now in drop A, because it's another of Cyrus tuning. So I played so we haven't played a show in quite a few months because of the current situation in the world. So I just played both of our albums a couple of times back and forth, and you know, like down at home, just pretending that I'm on the shows. And so yeah, this is my drop A guitar. A little bit of Kings Tonight and quite a few mistakes, but yeah, drop A. I think the set is, I usually use the same set 12 to 60 down on the C, but I somehow this feels a little bit thicker. Maybe this is 13 to 64 or 65. I don't know. Then this guitar, I got this just before we went into studio with God's Play to record our, well, so far our last final album, Revival, in 2000. I think it was 10 or 11 or 12. This is if I read this correct, it's 2009. I got this, and with the setup that I had then, I played with two amplifiers. It was a Bugner Ecstasy into Bugner Ecstasy cabinet and a Bugner Fish preamp into VHT, which is now Friet, with power amp, and into this cabinet here, the Friet Fat Bottom. And this guitar just sounded the best of all of the. I didn't have the ESP signatures then. I had these the 4 Tokai LS I showed you. Usually I always played with the God's Play logo one, but this sounded the best. Only thing that's been done to it, well, this came with some other brand of like old looking tuners, but they were little, because you know, heavy strings, low tuning, so I went with the usual garage. Not the logging tuners, but yeah, and just the EMG 8185. There's medium frets, and so basically all the thing is this and this, and I didn't even shave the neck because this sounded so good that I didn't dare to do anything. So I used this on the God's Play's Revival album, basically. This and some clean stuff I used this Tokai. But now, just like maybe a year ago, just with a really soft sandpaper, I just scrapped, whatever is the word, the lacquer out, because it was a little bit like, now it's like smooth and velvety, and your neck fingers, your hand moves on the neck smoothly. So complete blackout. Parisian Walkways. I know the song like my back pockets, but sometimes this happens. But as you hear, it's really, there's nice sustain, and well, this is my slash Gary Moore thing. I used this live with Shining also, so a few shows, but really great guitar. I mean, it's a little bit, it get a little bit time to get used to this, because this has a medium frets and not the jumbos I usually use. But sometimes it leads to cool things, like on the God's Play album, the Revival I mentioned. I was trying to like bend like. I was supposed to bend one note, but since the frets are so small, the other got stuck in there too, so it became like. Just by accident, and then it's like, oh, that's cool. And it's easier to recreate with the smaller frets. Well, it's a bass guitar. It's a Tokai. It's belonged, or actually still belongs, to Suburban Tribe's bass player and main songwriter and founder Janne Joutseniemi, who also was the bass player and vocalist of the legendary metal band called Stone. And you know, the Roope Latvala played there, who used to play in Junior Budum. So this is when we called it quits with Suburban Tribe. I think Janne had a lot of basses, so he just gave this to me like, well, hey, you can use it, because you know I play bass on some of the shows, and not Suburban Tribe shows, but in general, and well, on the Cyrus No Hellos in Hell album I play the bass also along with guitars, and all the demos I do, I use this. It's really thick strings, so whatever the tuning, I just tweak this and it works like a charm. It's like a Precision bass. Seymour Duncan, I don't know what pickups Janne put it in there, but I've had it since 2011 when we called it quits with Suburban Tribe. Really good sounding bass. Stays in tune. And then these next two guitars I used in Suburban Tribe, because we had two tunings. We had or actually we had three. We had a standard E flat, then we had a drop tuning of that, and then we had a drop G sharp. And when I joined, I had several guitars for the tunings and a baritone guitar for the drop G, but I didn't really like the long scale. It felt clumsy and stuff. And then I just thought that, well, if I order a 7-string, I can still play the this is now in E flat tuning, the tuning we used in Suburban Tribe. So I can play the E flat tuning normally. Just forgot the low string, and then if I need to do the drop, and on the G drop G sharp tuning, so I just drop this string, so it's drop with this. And live, occasionally, when I have this, let's say if the chord had like, the song has like, let's say those chords, C, D, E, I might use the low 7-string as a double the root note, so it will be. That was kind of cool things. So yeah, and then I used basically I could do all the songs with one guitar. And this I think this is EMG 707, because when I got this guitar early 2000 something, I think EMG didn't make, it was the only 7-string pickup they made, and I think it was called 707. I don't know how it differs from 81 or anything, but it was called 707, and that's what I asked them to put here. So it's a custom shop wiper. For some reason I wanted to have a string through body, just maybe to see how that sounds. There's nothing any more deeper meaning to that. 22 frets. I remember the body. I guess it's mahogany, probably, or alder. What the SDs usual are. Maple neck, shaved, ebony fingerboard, jumbo frets, and this has a spiritual locking tuners and a graphite nut. great guitar, simple guitar, and it's just 230V, which means is the lightning power that we have in Europe. And my last name, Valovirta, it's obviously Finnish, and in English it means lightning power. So pretty cool. And then the other that I used in Suburban Tribe, and also I used this briefly in Syra, because we have the drop A songs. But then I figured, because if I cut a string on the 7-string one, because you know I had a case with 3 guitars, because you know you gotta try to save the expenses. So I had this flight case that fits 3 guitars, it's just under the 23 kilos. So I had one CE tuned guitar and one spare for that, and then the 7-string, and I didn't have any spare. And I on the letters to myself, I actually played the 7-string songs, 2 7-string songs, drop A songs with this. But live I used this on the 2 songs. And if I would have break a string, I will be like, oh, well, what should I do? So then I just basically learned to play the songs on a 6-string guitar, just tuned down, because on those Hard Rage and Dark Clarity songs I used all the 7 strings, but then when I play them nowadays with a 6-string, I just gotta do a little bit more moving, because with the 7-string I was able to play basically everything in a couple of here, but since 6 strings, so I don't have the high, so I need to just move my hand a little bit more. So I learned to play those with a 6-string, and then if I broke a string on that, I can easily just tune down my other 6 strings to that tuning. Hopefully that makes sense. But anyway, yeah. So this is a custom shop again, ESP. Again, I don't remember the body. Wood, alder, probably. That's what Teles are. Maple neck, ebony fingerboard. And there's Dutch here. It's Kia, my wife. Spiritual tuners, locking tuners, ESP custom shop, Syra sticker, and a string through body. These are EMG 8185. When I got this in, well, I don't see the serial number. Well, whenever that was, then EMG made the 85 and 8185 for 7-string. But yeah. I think this is in D now, and so this is A. It is really full sounding, like it's kind of like 7-string Les Paul, because the pickups are like this, but it's just a Tele shape. So yeah, nice guitar. Then, because my first guitar idol was James Hetfield, of course I need to have an Explorer. I used this guitar, I think, on a couple of God's Plague songs, because we had this tuning called like double drop G, because we tuned down to 1 whole step, down to D, and then most of the songs we did was drop tuning for that, so drop C or that D, and sometimes I dropped the E string octave lower than the A string, so I used this one on those songs, at least live. Maybe I did on the couple of albums also, I'm not sure. But anyway, you know, Hetfield, EMG 8185, mahogany neck, shaved again, really nice. Tokai Ghana tuners, 22 jumbo frets, rosewood fingerboard, ebony nut, and yeah, it's an Explorer, so you're gonna play a little bit of Metallica. And so on. And of course you gotta downpick everything, because that's the way to go, at least with Metallica. Hey, hopefully enjoy this rather long video, I must say. This I imagined that this would go faster, but now when I check the time or the logic, I've been recording the guitar, it's quite long, but I'll put the time codes there to different guitars, so if you want to just check out a certain guitar, you don't have to, you know, do a scrolling or watch the whole thing. But of course I really appreciate if you watched from a beginning to this far. So you know, thanks for watching. And oh yeah, I have a few. I have one banjo that I've used. I think it's in a warehouse, maybe in the closet, but that can stay there. And then I have a K Yairi acoustic guitar that I had for ages. You've seen that on the videos that I've done with my wife when we play these classical piano things. It's not a classical guitar, but I don't have an Austrian classical, so that'll do. Really good guitars. I've used it on Shining albums, and yeah, on many albums, many shows. Those were basically the guitars that I have and that I play, if not every day, at least weekly. Thank you. Until next time, take care. Euge out.